Well, Ben, it's wonderful to meet you, sir. Thank you for taking a minute out today.
Of course, very nice to meet you too, Joe.
Yes. So I was going to ask you, what time is it in Sri Lanka right now?
8:30 p.m.
Wow. All right. We're at 9 in the morning. Man, I love the future. So this is going to be my kind of conversation. So
Yeah,
I'm
exactly,
ready
exactly.
to get into
I'll
it.
tell you what it's like.
I love it. So let's get into it. Before we begin your journey into coaching, I want to know this. 5 years ago, this pandemic was changing the world. There was a
Mm.
response that was different all over the globe. It changed our lives. How did you get through it, and how has it affected the way that you live and do work in 2025?
Um, is that something you want me to answer on the interview, or you want me to answer right
Yeah,
now?
no, that's that. I'm that the shot put went off. We're ready to roll.
Oh, right, okay. So yeah, for me, I actually moved to Amsterdam 1 month before COVID broke out. So COVID was quite a shock for me. Um, yeah, I was not prepared for that. Obviously, as most people were not, but I was in an entirely new country, an entirely new city, didn't know anyone in the world. Um, and so I think the thing for me is I realized that connection was the most important thing, being around people. And honestly, many people come to me for many different reasons. Maybe it's through the job or the career or the relationship or whatever it might be. And invariably, what everybody is asking for is deeper connection with the people that they love and care about. And so that's really what I took from COVID and the way that it's shifted what I do. Obviously, I was not doing this back then. Is that yeah, getting that connection that you want, garnering that connection is paramount to leading a successful life.
So let's get into exactly what you do on a daily basis right now. And to do that, kids get the truth out of us. I'm going to put you in front of a bunch of 12-year-olds. It's career day. You're in a schoolhouse, and one of the kids in the back of the room is like, "Hey, what do you do for a living?" What's your answer?
I would say your dream is that you want to be an astronaut or you want to be a sports person or you want to do something like that. Now, very often, perhaps your parents make a compromise that they're going to go and do something else. The world tells them they should be sensible, that they go and do whatever it might be. They should go and become a lawyer or a doctor or in finance, something like that. And at some point, they realize around 35, 45, 55 that actually they've been living someone else's life for the entirety of that time and that they want to reassess what winning actually looks like for them. And they begin to uncover, and together we begin to uncover what their version of a 10 out of 10 life looks like, rather than what they have been told that they should do.
So, speaking of unraveling and getting to that core of the dream and the essence, when you were 12 years old, what was that dream gig for you?
For me, I don't know how well this translates to the US. I wanted to be a professional cricketer. Uh, so I wanted to play high level sport. Now, I wasn't quite good enough for that. And that for me translated into doing other things that are outside of sport. But yeah, that's what I wanted when I was 12 years old for sure.
So, take me back to where were you born and raised?
So Plymouth, actually, where the Pilgrims left, set sail for America.
Okay. So let me ask you this. What were the foundational seeds that were planted into you that led you to coaching, that led you to help people find that light in a dark room? What was that for you?
For me, it's very much as I said just then, really, I lived a life that looked great on paper, right? I had a meteoric career, culminated with me most recently leading the international markets for a global consultancy, large team, large budget, Google, etc., as clients, flying all over the world, flying to Cannes, to Seattle, all over, and it looked like a fantastic life, but it wasn't the life that I really wanted to live. It's the one that I thought that I should be. It paid well. I lived in a nice place. It looked like a respectable life, and in many ways it was. But I woke up many times at 2 a.m. thinking, is this it? Is have I kind of reached the limit of what life is? Um, and so by unpicking a number of things over a number of years, I realized that that doesn't have to be how it is. And so that's exactly what I do today. I help people that wake up and realize that the life that they've been performing is not the life that they want. And that doesn't mean that people have to do what I do. They don't have to tear up their well-constructed careers. They don't have to move to Sri Lanka for a period of time or do anything like that at all. but it is about being incredibly attentionable about the life that you live. So if you tell me that your family is your highest priority, make sure that your time and your energy reflects that. If you tell me that you want to be healthy and happy and things like that, making sure that your life is in accordance to that. And so that's really what I do with clients all day long is make sure that they're building the lives that they love to wake up to and make sure, and more importantly, that it's their life on their own terms.
So I got a philosophical question for you here. There's a lot of people that exist on this planet where you literally have to be alive long enough to realize this isn't what I want to do. I want to do something
Mm-hmm.
else, like that epiphany that you had.
Mm.
So is your goal, along with helping people find their path, is your goal to expedite it so they don't spend so many years and decades kind of trying to figure it out?
So typically people come to me when they're at that pain point where they realize that yeah, where they've had that slow, I don't, for me, it wasn't an epiphany. It was a slow realization over a number of years, right? And it was having the bravery to then say, okay, this thing that looks beautifully curated, that I have the golden handcuffs for, is not what I wanted. So for sure, if someone comes to me and say, I'm not sure if I want to make that step, the fact that they're having that conversation with me indicates that really they are aware that that's where they want to go. And in that instance, we can expedite it. But perhaps, Joe, that is exactly what I should be doing is understanding where people are and helping them to really understand earlier on in that journey how they can be aware of it and how they can begin to make steps that aren't too radical to create the life that they want.
So when you decided to make this change,
Mm,
explain to me the day that you walked into the job. What was going on? Do you remember that day? Like
of
specific, like
course.
okay, what was going through your mind from the beginning of going in to say I'm going to move on to when you walked out
Mm.
of that door for the final time?
Honestly, if you had have told me before, I don't think I would have believed you. But I walked in with a huge amount of confidence that I was making the right decision, right? Um, and that's not to say that it was an easy decision. As I said, it took a long time to get there.
Yeah.
But what I talk to a lot of clients about is the idea of stepping into something rather than stepping away from it, right? So I was terrified for a long period of time about leaving the respectable job. What would people say? What would people think? Leaving the nice view over the Thames, leaving that lifestyle behind. But it wasn't actually until, so as I said, we've been in Sri Lanka for 6 months. We're here until Christmas. We actually came just before I left for a holiday. And it wasn't until I sat down at a dining room table overlooking the sea and I thought, actually, this is a fantastic life. I could build the career, the business of my dreams from this dining room table. And so that made me realize that it was worth giving a shot. You have one opportunity in life. And so then I had this conviction that, okay, the life that I'm living is great in many, many ways, but it's not the life that I really want. I think that I can build something amazing from this incredible location. And so actually, fast forwarding then to when I left, it was a case of, okay, I am not leaving this job. I'm stepping into an exciting, more compelling future.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't quite as difficult as you perhaps might imagine.
So when you take that risk, so to speak, and leave one
Mm.
career and go into another, you're kind
Hmm.
of going into uncharted territory. What was it like with the first client? Was there a light bulb that went off that said, okay, this makes sense? What I did was right. Did you have a moment or did it take a little bit of time for you to feel that validation that you made the right choice?
I think there's a little uncertainty, right? So I had been doing coaching in different capacities for people before I left. So I had obviously had a taste of this world. And I really enjoyed the aspect of it because it felt like I was contributing in a meaningful way, which is more of what I wanted to do. But let me be honest, when I left, I was still under the illusion that um, I had to do something more grandiose. I'd written up the business plan for an exciting business on paper, the one that I thought that I had the aptitude and the ability to deliver on. But again, it was falling into the same script that I'd been living my entire life, was that at the other end of this career, at the other end of this business plan, there would be freedom and happiness, etc. And so it wasn't until I got the space of being away from London and perhaps a little sunshine and being in Sri Lanka and gave myself a little bit of pause that I really began to see that, actually that's just the same game that I've been playing, that actually now I have the opportunity to do the thing that I really always wanted to do, which is more of this coaching, more of one-to-one connection, more of having great conversations with people like you, Joe. Um, and so again, it wasn't necessarily a light bulb moment, but it was a case of, okay, I understand now that the things that I can do that add meaning to my life, and yeah, so that's what I'm doing.
So, who's been that inspirational force or that heroic force on your journey for you to find your role?
There's probably too many to name in the rest of this podcast, to be honest. Like obviously my partner's been instrumental in navigating it with me. My parents, obviously, in terms of the way that they've instilled things in me. And look, I'm one of those coaches that works with a number of different coaches myself, right? I believe very strongly in the power of having someone um, hold you to a higher standard, and sometimes you can hold yourself to, and helping you reach that vision of yourself that's greater, right? And so, yeah, I've gone through any number of different personal development and coaching paths that have all led to where I am today. And yeah, I could name any number of people, but it's really kind of that blend that has been so important.
If you could meet one coach on the planet or one leader that is
Hmm.
totally inspirational, that would help you on your journey, spend a little time, have a lunch, have some questions, who would you love to meet and spend time with?
Whew. There's actually a guy called Peter Crone that I would like to meet and have time with. He's been very inspirational in the way that I have thought about my journey, helping me to uncover the hidden scripts and the stories, obviously vicariously and never having met him. Um, in terms of understanding the stories that have run my life, allowed me to live the life that I am now. And I'd obviously like to dig in deeper with that over a longer conversation.
So, when you get into the coaching realm, I'm sure when you're with your client, you kind of have to swim through some of the things that they're dealing with, and it can be difficult. How do you
Hmm.
ultimately protect yourself to stay focused? What's that energy every day for you to not only do that for your job, but for your soul and your life? What is that collective energy?
I think it's just the energy of curiosity, right? And getting into their world. I often say to certainly prospective clients, like the way that I see things is I want to understand your perspective, your way of the world as much as you do. That's for me the way that I believe that I can have the greatest impact. If I understand your thoughts, feelings, and like kind of what's going on for you and how you set your life up. Um, and so, yeah, I just have great curiosity about the lives they're living. Why are they in the patterns that they are? And what are these dreams and aspirations that perhaps they haven't voiced yet, that they want to uncover? So I think that that's the most important energy that I can come from is just, yeah, just trying to understand.
So when you get in there and you start really digging into the coaching with your clients, what's the first thing usually universally the clients have to get over, have to get around to get to that point where they can find their core, they can find their essence?
Mm. So I think I make quite a large distinction or a differentiation point to the rest of, or the vast majority of personal development and coaching, certainly, is that you have to do more, be more, try harder, right? Certainly the people that I work with, it was true for myself, quite high performers, and so are already doing a lot. They're already cramming as much into their days as they possibly can. And actually, the starting point that I have with many of the people that I work with is removal, getting rid of the stories and scripts that they've lived their lives by, getting rid of those pointless meetings so you can have a little bit of space in your day, realizing that actually clearing the clutter, the mental clutter, the physical clutter from your life actually gives you a new perspective, or at least an opportunity to have greater clarity and kind of greater creativity about where you want to go.
So if you were to have a dream tonight, you ran into the 16-year-old version of you in your room and you had a book in your hands and it was like a coffee table book and you
Mm,
handed that to the young version of you and said,
mm,
"This is how your life turned out." Would that version
mm.
of you that's young believe it?
I don't think so. I think I'm absolutely crazy, to be honest. But I guess that's what I say to clients as well, quite frequently, right? Your life shouldn't, I don't believe, look sensible to anybody else. The more weird your life looks, the more it is probably yours. And that doesn't mean that you have to be, as I say, you don't have to take it to the extremes, perhaps like I have or other people might, but you are allowed to color outside the lines a little bit. And so maybe it's the things that you like to do on the weekend. Maybe you want to go RV racing, or maybe you want to go camping or whatever. These things might not look completely sensible to everyone. Um, but as long as they feel like they're right for you, then it's a pretty cool life, in my opinion.
Would you give any advice to that young version of you?
No, he'll figure it out eventually.
Yeah, there you go. So let me ask you this. Of everything that you've accomplished and become at this point in your life, what are you the
Mm-hmm.
proudest of?
Look, I think the work that I do is pretty impactful, I believe, right? The changing of people's lives when they come to me, the opposite, honestly, they tend to be quite apathetic, or they don't necessarily know that where the direction is that they want to go. And I say it's not necessarily about losing ambition, it's just about having ambition in a slightly different way. And in many ways, people become better at their jobs, but they're living the life more that they want, right? Um, I've completely forgotten what your question was, sorry.
It was, what are you the proudest of everything that you've done with your
Yeah.
life?
And so yeah, sorry. So people then will it's obviously the impact that you have in their lives, right? In terms of how the work is impacts them, how it often dials up their ambition and helps them live cooler lives and helps them live more on their own terms. But for me, the thing that I'm proudest of is the ripple effect that it has. In many ways, the things that I cannot see and I can only hear secondhand, perhaps, is, and sometimes not even that, is the impact that that changed life for that person has on their relationship with their wife or their husband, that has the relationship on their kids, that has a relationship on their business, that has relationships on their clients, right? The ripple effect goes on almost infinitely, right? And although I don't necessarily see that directly from my work, I think that that's the thing that really is the most cool to think about. The thing that I most enjoy hearing the anecdotes of, in terms of how they've now more connected to their children, and that means that they are excited to see them when they come home, or any number of things like that.
So, Ben, at the end of the day, everyone has a perception of you, family, friends, clients, everyone that knows you, but you are in control. You run the show. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
Someone that's just trying to get a little bit better every single day, right? In any number of different ways. It might be trying to stop falling off of surfboards quite so often as I do at the moment. It might be trying to be a better partner. It might be trying to be a better listener and making sure that I'm a better coach for the people that I work with. But it's really about trying to be incrementally better day by day and trying to impact as many people as I can in as deep a way as tangibly possible.
So, coming from this Western part of the globe, the American idea is, we like football and baseball and soccer and all these things. Cricket's not really a part of what we've historically gotten into. So, sell
Hmm.
me on cricket. Tell me why you love the sport. Convince me that the next time I'm in a position to see a cricket match, I buy a ticket.
Um, I think that's a challenging sell for people even in my own country, to be honest. So we'll try anyway, especially as we're currently losing to Australia, which isn't great fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like baseball, isn't it? To some degree. I would say a slightly faster version. Um, and yeah, I think that it's just the length of it obviously puts people off. Sometimes it's all day. Sometimes it actually goes for 5 days, which bemuses most of the world. But I think it's a great opportunity again to connect, like we talked about at the beginning, with friends over a long period of time, with the backdrop of a nice game going on, and to kind of get behind your team. It's similar to any number of different sports, but it has that rhythm to it that's really enjoyable.
So you clearly have traveled quite a bit in your life. You're in a wonderful place now with Sri Lanka. What has been
Mhm.
one of the most magically enchanting places you visited that was unexpected? You didn't expect it was going to be that wonderful.
I would say it is definitely Sri Lanka, to be honest. If you haven't been, if your listeners have not been, I highly recommend it. It's a beautiful island. It's had its troubles in the past for sure, but it's definitely not the case now. Beautiful beaches, beautiful weather, great food, wonderful, kind, friendly people. Um, and yeah, it's a must visit for anybody that likes to get out there and travel.
So if anybody has questions, they want to hire you, they want to reach out, any of the good business, where's the best place for them to go?
That's definitely my website. So ben-robbins.com, Robins. You'll find my LinkedIn there, which is where I do my daily musings on all things coaching and life. And yeah, obviously I offer a 2 hour complimentary consultation for anybody that wants to work with me as well, where we can really get into the depth of what you're looking for, what you want your life to look like, and help you understand the direction of what that transformation would look like.
Wonderful. Ben, thank you so much. Thank you for your story. Thank you for your time. Continued success. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Joe. I really appreciate it.
You bet. Thank you. All right, man.